Yes, Jumani, also known as Juby and Watchner, is always Arsenal. We won today 3-0 in the Carabao Cup against Wimbledon, and it felt like a preseason game indeed. We featured a number of our players who would not normally get game time in the Premier League, but this is actually a cup that is a real opportunity for us to win some sort of silverware, you know what I mean? And as much as we given some of our players playing time, I still very much appreciated the fact that we were able to blend it with some of our regulars in the likes of Party. Of course, Lacazette would play a role throughout the season, of course, and some of our substitute defenders, because they would come on to make sure that we secure the game in the Premier League and so on as we go along and go through the season. 3-0. Three topics. Lacazette just two missed penalties. As a matter of fact, I was looking through some statistics, and Lacazette has scored over 31 penalties in his footballing career. Um, that is a best stat. I think he probably only missed like five penalties, and none of those misses were in an Arsenal t-shirt. You know what I mean? Lacazette is on point when it comes to penalties. That is probably something that we should really pay attention to, because once we receive a penalty, Lacazette is almost guaranteed to score. And he scored today, opened up the scoring very early. Of course, Martinelli was brought down, and Martinelli as well had a good game in terms of doing his Martinelli stuff, which is pressuring, giving that energy, bringing that fast pace football, especially on the wing. He played on the right side today, which was different, you know what I mean. But I would commend Martinelli for his energy as usual, but more so Lacazette for his confidence and his perfect record when scoring penalties. You know what I mean? So big up Lacazette. He really don't miss. He just don't miss from the penalty spot. Secondly, I would highlight Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe clearly has made a personal goal, a personal target to continue to score, or at least make those attacking runs. You know what I mean? To try to put himself in a position to score. We have seen him throughout the beginning of the season where his decision making in the final third is not the best, but when you really sit down and look at his style and what he is really trying to do, you will realize that he really just want to score more goals, and I can't knock a player for that. Emil Smith Rowe is trying to up his goal tally. You know what I mean? And he scored today, which would only boost his confidence more, because he wants to be a scoring midfielder, not just a creative midfielder to create chances. Of course, it's a team sport, so you will have to slip it in where it's necessary. And he would need to work much more on his decision making when it comes to deciding whether to shoot or to pass. But I must commend him for really trying to up his goal tally, and he was rewarded with a goal today, which is only a positive. He even posted up on Instagram. He don't really post on Instagram just like that, and he posted up because he's happy that he scored. You know what I mean? The other thing that I want to highlight from today's game is the fact that yet another clean sheet, which is strangely becoming the norm. You know what I mean? Of course, there's lower opponents who not really supposed to score on us, but we had to give credit where it's due. We maintaining clean sheets. Of course, the Wimbledon actually had a few chances, but we were still able to come out the game without conceding. And you know what, the Arsenal, when you look at Arsenal performances, especially in the middle section of last season, we would have conceded some ridiculous goals from some ridiculous defending. And you had to give the fellas some kudos. Clean sheets. And we got a clean sheet without Ramsdale in the goal. Leno was back in the goal, so I'm glad for Leno getting a clean sheet as well, because let us not forget how crucial of a player Bird Leno is to us. Eh? Alright, alright. So I'm glad that both our keepers have some clean sheets under their belt, and is only a positive for our defensive look. Partey looked good in the midfield. Holding and Murray didn't really have much to really deal with, but they were able to hold their own. Tavares and Cedric in particular looked really good going down the wings. I still feel like Tavares needs to sharpen a little bit. He a little too wild, I would say, but it could work in his favor. So I can't really knock him. Cedric, of course, he had a good game at the assisting and so on. And he just liked to be part of the play. He just likes to be part of it. So credit to Cedric. And Eddie was on the score sheet. Eddie is a kind of player who I definitely don't advocate for starting. Eddie has a lot of work to do in terms of his developmental stage, his developmental process. So too Maitland-Niles. But I'm glad when they get a chance to really do the thing. You know what I mean? Niles still a few lack of focus. Um, and Eddie, of course, kind of was out of the game at certain point. But I'm glad that cups like these, the Carabao Cup, can provide that minutes and so on for these players. So generally, good performance, 3 goals, 3 points. Well, I'm saying 3 points, but we really move on to the next round, and we will be facing Leeds at home. Leeds could attack, we know that. So it'll be an interesting game, but we have some clean sheets under our belt, so we should be able to lock shop. You know what I mean? Just thinking optimistic, but generally, our next game is against Leeds in the Carabao Cup, but more so against Tottenham this weekend in the Premier League. One to really look forward to. But you know it is always Arsenal.